Yo, what is going on YouTube? This is your boy Dan, aka A-Drive, but you guys, week 6 of the NPA. The New York Metapod's taking on the Duns Barcelona and Coach Baby Powder. If you guys are hyped for this video and our pregame press conference, make sure you guys hit the like button down below. And of course, subscribe if you are new. Before we get too far into things, I do want to address something really quickly. A lot of people over the last week or two have been messaging me saying, A-Drive, where was your match last weekend? A-Drive, when are you going to upload your match last weekend? Where is the battle? Well, there was no battle. I had a bye week. So let me kind of clarify here. Basically, the schedule, I think there's 12 games that each team plays, but there's 13 weeks. So every team gets a bye week, which is a week where they don't play. It's something that like professional football teams do. Every team has a bye week throughout the season, usually to allow players to recover and stuff. Luckily for us, we're playing with Pokemon, so that doesn't really matter. But we have a bye week for whatever reason. I didn't make the schedule. I'm just playing. So we did not have a match last week. So don't worry. Everyone's like, you missed your upload to the... Guys, come on. Give me a little bit of credit here. I'm pretty good at making sure I stay on schedule. So I don't think I've missed an upload in a long time. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. So my bad if anyone was confused. I did tweet it out, which by the way, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter for updates and all sorts of cool stuff. Looks like a lot of people are getting their New York Metapod shirts in the mail now from our partner Onaj. So big shouts to Onaj, of course, for working on that. And I hope you guys enjoy your New York Metapod shirts as they come in. Definitely don't be afraid to tweet me a picture of you wearing it or just show me the shirt and let me know how comfortable it is. I think they're really awesome. So thank you guys for all the support there. And let's talk a little bit about our team here because we're taking on the Duns Barcelona here. And I believe he's 0-4. We are 4-0. So we're saying pretty good right now. He might be 0-5. I don't know. He's 0-something. I don't know if he's won yet, to be honest. Let me check. He is currently 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he's 0-5. So he is 0-5 with a -9 differential. All of his matches have been really close though. So not to mention he was a playoff contender last season. So, you know, in the PGL, I guess. We're from the same town. So me and Powder are actually from the same town. I've never met him in person, but maybe if he beats me, I'll go buy him a drink or something. But hopefully we'll beat him and he can just buy us a drink or whatever. But we do live in the same town, which is kind of funny. So it's the battle for Danbury here, and we're going to take a look at his team, kind of run through his team before we jump into my team, and we'll kind of go from there. So looking at his team, I see some pretty key Pokemon that I think are going to be really, really interesting. First, we see the Kyurem Black. Kyurem Black is an absolute monster with an insane attack stat, but it is hindered by its stealth rock weakness, its lack of a good physical ice stab, really having to rely on mixed sets to use Ice Beam and stuff effectively, and it is a little slow. It's only 95 base speed, so often run as a substitute set or typically run mixed with Life Orb or maybe even a Choice Scarf. So those are the things we're going to kind of look out for. He's got Hawlucha, obviously a really fast Pokemon. Hawlucha is, you know, not a hard hitter unless it sets up some Swords Dances, so we kind of got to keep an eye out on that. Fully expect it, to run like an Unburdened set with some sort of a berry, so keep an eye on that. We're going to try to take advantage of that. He might not even bring it though. I have a lot of responses for Hawlucha, so he might not even bring it, but who knows. He's got a Greninja here, which is actually one of the biggest threats on his team in my opinion. That the Greninja is Torrent Greninja. It is not Protein, so he's got to run Torrent, so he can't change his type on me. But Dark and Water Stab has proven to be kind of a problem for my team. He may be a little discouraged because of things like Amoonguss and Alomomola, but nevertheless, we do have to kind of keep an eye out on that Greninja and make sure that we have responses for it because it is so fast, but it will stay Dark and Water type throughout the game because it does not have Protein. He's got his Bronzong here, which is one of his only Stealth Rock setters, so we're going to keep that in mind. This thing also runs Toxic typically, could run like a Trick Room set. I don't really foresee Trick Room. He's got enough speed that it doesn't really work, but Bronzong is very, very bulky, so we have to keep that in mind. He might run a Levitate, or I'm sorry, Heat-Proof Bronzong to kind of help him against my Entei, but I'm really not too worried about it. I think it actually is going to be a good thing. I think Bronzong might be a good thing for my team. He's got this big Pangoro here, which does have the Mold Breaker, which can, you know, kind of affect our Sableye if he wants to, like, run something weird like Toxic or whatever. But, you know, Sableye should be able to hold it down. But otherwise, Pangoro is just a really hard-hitting Pokemon with a really high attack stat. It's got a move called Parting Shot, which is a really neat move. But it does have that 4 times weakness to Fairy, so we might try to capitalize on that. He's got a Claydol, his only form of hazard removal, kind of. It's his only Rapid Spinner, I guess. Another Stealth Rock setter. Claydol typically doesn't do much aside from set up screens and shenanigans like that, so I'll have to kind of keep an eye out on that. Luckily for me, Sableye handles like his defensive Pokemon really, really well, so you'll kind of see my team building there. He's got Mega Altaria, one of the best Megas in the format. This thing can be physical, special, setup sweeper, defensive, cleric, or like heal bell user. This thing is a monster. Mega Altaria is very, very scary, but it is hindered by its base 80 speed stat. It does have a weakness to Stealth Rocks before Mega Evolving, and I think we can take advantage of his weakness to Fairy here. So Mega Altaria is very scary. He's got a couple really big threats in his team. team. He's got Mew as well, one of the top Pokemon in the format as well. Being able to run pretty much any set it could possibly dream of. It can be offensive, it can be defensive, it can be Stealth Rocks Defog, it can be Will-O-Wisp like Taunt, it can be, you know, Volt Switch, Choice Specs, or Choice Scarf, or Trick, or it could pretty much do anything. So you can't really prep for Mew, so I didn't really bother. We've got a Roserade there, T-Spike, Spikes, obviously Poison and Grass, Stab. Does get Sleep Powder, something to keep in mind, but it doesn't really it doesn't have the raw power that it needs to kind of break through walls very well. So I'm not too concerned about Roserade. I think we can beat it, and it's a little on the slower side, typically. Only rocking like a 90 base speed. He's got a Tauros there. That's kind of problematic. Tauros with 110 base speed, plus that sheer force or intimidate ability makes it pretty effective. And then last but not least, he's got his mascot there, Dunsparce. Dunsparce, obviously, I don't foresee to be a huge threat. It could be problematic, but we have a couple Pokemon that are just like straight up counters to it. So not too worried about that. His biggest threats though, the Kyurem for sure, the Greninja, like I said, the Altaria is a bit of a threat. Obviously, the Mew is very problematic. I fully expect the Greninja, the Altaria, the Kyurem, and the Mew. In terms of the other Pokemon, I think he's probably going to want to bring the Pangoro maybe, and then probably either the Roserade or the Bronzong, something like that. I'm thinking that's kind of what it said it's going to be. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about our team now. We've got our Sableye here, which would be the first Pokemon bringing obviously our team captain, and Sableye has proven itself to be a very good utility mon. This week we're actually bringing kind of a mixed Sableye, both physically defensive and specially defensive, kind of mixed up the EVs there a little bit. We got Recover, Will-O-Wisp, the staple moves, Knock Off for utility, and we got Fake Out on there, and Fake Out's kind of a weird move to run on Sableye. Big props to my man Envy on this one. But Fake Out's a weird move to run on Sableye because you have the Prankster on the first turn anyway. But what it does allow you to do, and I think it's going to be crucial for this match, is it allows you to Mega Evolve in front of Pokemon like Mega Altaria. So if he were to lead with Mega Altaria or even Mew or something like that, I can't Will-O-Wisp them. I have to switch out. Or I want to get my Mega off, because as soon as my Mega's off, that makes him play totally different. It changes the way someone plays against Mega Sableye, because they don't want to go for Toxic. They don't want to go for T-Wave. They don't want to go for Stealth Rocks, because it's going to get bounced back if I switch to Sableye. But Sableye loses that utility if it's not Mega Evolved. And I realized the last couple matches, I haven't Mega Evolved Sableye till like halfway through the game, and then it's been way too close, and Stealth Rocks are up on the field, and I can't get him out, and it's just a nightmare. And I'm like, I need to get my Sableye Mega Evolves. Like, it's awesome to get that first turn matchup advantage, counter predicting my opponent to predict Sableye, but at the end of the day, Sableye needs to be Mega Evolved. Like, this team relies on that so much. So I was like, you know what, forget it. Let's just run Fake Out this week. Let's see how it goes. If he leads Mega Altaria, predicting me to, you know, lead Sableye, I get to Fake Out, get my Mega Evolution off, and then I switch out to an Altaria counter, and we're fine. Like, that's really what we needed to do. And that's really a focus here, because I just know I hard counter Bronzong. I know I hard counter Claydol. I know I can beat the Pangoro. Like, I know I can beat all these different Pokemon. We actually have to be very careful of Scrappy Pangoro now that I think of it, because his fighting type moves would be super effective against us. So that's something I just realized that I need to make sure I don't forget about. I do have responses to it, so it's not a big deal, but I do need to be careful of Pangoro. I think he might actually bring it now that I think of Scrappy Pangoro. That's why we do these press conferences. But yeah, I just got to get this thing Mega Evolved. So let's jump into our next Pokemon here. So the next Pokemon we're going to be bringing, making its return from last week, is of course Arwen. Arwen picking up 4 kills 2 weeks ago against our opponent, and basically cleaning up against a match that I figured there was really no chance for us to win. At least from on paper. Like, we had a really terrible matchup on paper. But Gardevoir showing that it doesn't need to be a Mega to be awesome. This week we're bringing that same Choice Scarf set pretty much. I'm bringing Moonblast, Shadow Ball. I realized that Fairy Ghost coverage against his team just bodies him. It just destroys his whole team. Look at this thing. Super effective. Fairy hits the Kyurem, hits the Hawlucha, hits the Greninja. Shadow Ball hits the Bronzong. Fairy hits the Pangoro. Shadow Ball hits the Claydol. Fairy hits the Altaria. Shadow Ball hits the Mew. Psychic hits the Roserade. And then Moonblast and Psyshock finish up the 2 normal types there. Destiny Bond is there as a last resort. If I need to get rid of something that's set up on me, I can totally just go for that D-Bond Choice Scarf and just take whatever out. We do have max speed on this thing to make sure we can speed tie with that Mega Altaria. If it goes for a Dragon Dance and it's rocking max speed, usually it doesn't rock max speed, it's usually adamant, but just some food for thought there. We do outspeed pretty much everything else in his team that's not Scarfed, so that's super important. He's not going to Scarf. Like, if he Scarfs Kyurem, then he Scarfs Kyurem, but this gives me one Pokemon that keeps him from clicking, like, Dragon moves, which could kind of decimate me. So this also gives me just, dude, like I said, Moonblast it just wrecks so much of his team. Like, Fairy type coverage, he's got so many weaknesses to Fairy. I don't know if he, like, realized that in his draft or whatever, but Arwen, in my opinion, is just a must bring this week. I just think it's so effective against his team, and I really look for it to do work. It's not an early game Pokemon. Pokemon. It's definitely a, you know, mid-game Pokemon to put some pressure on and clean up at the end. Like, there's totally an opportunity, I think, for me to just send it in and just click Moonblast like 4 times and win again. So I really plan on kind of trying to take advantage of that. I think Gardevoir could be huge this match. But we do need to keep that Pangoro, man. It's in the back of my mind now. But our next Pokemon is going to be, of course, Vesuvius here, or Entei, which has gotten off to a little bit of a slow start. I really think Entei can still be that monstrous wall breaker we need on this team. It just has had a little bit of a hard time getting going here, and those Stealth Rocks, it's my own fault, man. I'm letting those rocks get up on the field, and I think Entei doesn't like them too much. But this Entei is rocking a ton of speed investment. We have enough speed on there to make sure we're actually going to outspeed, I believe we're outpacing max speed Altaria, so we at least have that going for us. We've got the, you know, max attack, of course, Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed, Stone Edge, Iron Head. I threw a couple EVs into my special defense. We've got the Assault Vest on there, a little bit weird, but that Assault Vest is going to allow us to take hits from the Greninja a little bit better. Allows us to take special hits from the potential Altaria if he's going for like Hyper Voice. We can destroy the Mew if he's specially offensive, which I think he will be, because Mew does get Dazzling Gleam, and that's one of the few moves on his team that's going to hit our Sableye super effective. So don't be surprised if he runs Dazzling Gleam Mew or Dazzling Gleam Roserade. Don't forget that's a thing too. I got all these things in my head. I'm like planning this out now. You know, so I think this Entei can put in some serious work. That Sacred Fire, just like, dude, it's just going to rip through his team. Even things that resist, like, they just don't want to come in and take a Sacred Fire. They just don't. Like, just look at his team. Nothing on his team wants to switch to Sacred Fire. Maybe Altaria does, but Altaria gets burned if it's especially offensive, then I just destroy him. And if he runs Earthquake, then he has to split his attack out and stuff. It's like, I'm really feeling this Entei set this week. I didn't want to be locked into anything either, which is why I'm AV. I got the Extreme Speed. Iron Head's there also to hit the Altaria. He might think I'm locked into it. I've been doing a pretty good job this season bluffing that I'm Scarfed or something else, but I like this AV set. I think you can put in some work. So anyway, let's jump to our next Pokemon here. Has been doing pretty well this season. We got Rolex, baby. I got a Rolex on my wrist. I actually don't wear watches, but Rolex is my watch, and you better watch and put in the work this week. Carry that Relaxed Nature, kind of a mixed build here. Max HP, Relaxed Nature to boost my defense, and I've got a lot of investment into my special defense as well, so I'm taking hits from both sides here. We got the Stealth Rock, super important, Gyro Ball, Toxic Roar, kind of weird set, but that Gyro Ball hits the Kyurem, hits the Altaria, hits the Hawlucha, hits the Greninja, like, hits everything on his team, aside from maybe Bronzong. Like, I'm hard walled by Bronzong, but like, whatever. I'll just roar it out, it's not a big deal, and Bronzong doesn't want to take on Sableye, so I think I can make it work, man. This also gives me a reliable response to Altaria, another one, because Altaria is such a big threat. Also helps me against that Kyurem, man. Like, that Shuckle Berry, it could come in handy if he goes for Earth Power or Earthquake. It just allows us to take one of those ground type moves a little bit better. This thing also handles the Roserade relatively well, being able to take pretty much any hit from him, firing back a big Gyro Ball. And again, he has a lot of speed on his team that I think we could take advantage of. That Steel typing hits like 2 or 3 of his Pokemon really, really hard. So obviously we're not going to do too well against Pangoro, but I think this little Rolex here could put in the finest of work. Now, don't forget, man, it's not over yet, because we got the Moonduck here, free crest. Cresselia has been putting in the finest of work. In fact, if I check the stats right now, I'm pretty sure Cresselia's got the most kills in the team. It does indeed. At 7-2, being the most kills in the team, this thing has been an absolute monster after a 6-0 sweep against Blue a couple weeks ago. Rocking that same sub-calm mindset, man. I feel like that's where it's at, and you can see a theme here with that Gardevoir. Moonblast, Shadow Ball. I figured it out, man. That's the coverage that destroys his team. I know I can take a knockoff from a Pangoro. I know I can take any hit from anything in his team, and I can fire back some pretty hard-hitting moves. The things that, like, scare this thing, the Pangoro and the Greninja, I think the rest of my team can handle them relatively well, but those two Pokemon do scare me a little bit. They really do. But this thing can put in the finest of work, man. Like I said, we get a substitute up, we set up some Calm Minds, and Moonblast, Shadow Ball does the rest, you know? We can definitely set up on Bronzong, we can set up on Claydol, we can set up on probably Hawlucha. I don't think Hawlucha could do anything to us, especially if it doesn't have the Acrobatics boost yet. And we can set up on a lot of things. I could probably even set up on Kyurem if I wanted to, in all honesty, especially if he's split and he doesn't have a Life Orb. Like, we could totally put in some work there. I'm losing out on the Moonlight, but I think the leftovers will be fine, and if we get that sub up to stop the status, be in good shape, man. I like this Cresselia here, and I like that Fairy coverage to help us against that Pangoro. Again, Pangoro is pretty scary. It is very scary. Knockoff, Drain Punch, things like that. Gotta be careful, especially with that Scrappy. I'll have to kind of play around that, but I think we can make it work. And last but not least, here we go, guys. It's not over yet. We've got the Crimson coming in at 6 kills, 1 death so far. This thing has been our ultimate cleanupper at the end of the game. This thing is a monster, rocking the Adamant Life Orb Speed Boost set again. Like, this man doesn't quit. Nah, I just keep running this set because it's so good, dude. Like, Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Protect, Superpower, done. We outspeed everything on his team after a speed boost, unless he's like Scarf Greninja or whatever, or the Hawlucha, but I'm not going to stay on Hawlucha anyway. I got Steelix. I really, really like this Scolipede, man. I really do. I think it could put in the work. Like, Superpower hits the things that Mega Horn Poison Jab doesn't. So Poison Jab destroys Altaria, Mega Horn destroys Mew, Roserade just dies if you throw a Pebble at it. The two normal types, Pangoro and Kyurem, do not want to take a Superpower. I could destroy the grenade. Like, seriously, Crimson can just destroy his entire team at the end. And obviously after that Protect, we're going to be able to outspeed a Scarf Pangoro as well. Very, very important there. This Poison typing could come in handy, especially since that he's going to pack a bunch of different fairy moves to try to counter what we have going on here. So at least I got that going for me as well. I could switch this thing in or whatever, but this is really a late game sweeper. We got a couple Pokemon. This and Gardevoir are really the late game Pokemon. I think Sableye, Steelix, and Entei are early game, and then Cresselia is mid if I have an opportunity to set up. Something goes down, and he's got his Bronzong sitting in there. I'll take that free Calm Mind or that free substitute any day, and we'll get it popping. So that is my team. That's my breakdown there. I see a couple little problems at Pangoro as I was talking through things. I might kind of review things before this match happens, but I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. I'm going to run a couple extra calcs now, but I think we should be in pretty good shape, and if anything changes before the match actually happens, I'll let you guys know in the match. But that's going to be it, guys. The match will be up tomorrow. Get yourselves hyped. Show your love on that like button down below. Hit them with a heart. And my name is Dan. Let's go by A Drive, and I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.